Well, what a day it was for Ramsdale, and that save from Ramsdale actually kept Arsenal above Spurs in the table. Now, it may have looked calm in the studio at full time with Glenn Hoddle and Ian Wright, but this is what it was like during the game.
Yeah, it's too easy. Nope.
Yay! Yeah, man! Hey, good at me!
What?
Yes! Take him on!
Left side.
Yeah! It's a great day! It's a great day! It's a great day!
That's come from Harry Kane.
Yeah!
And to be fair to Harry Kane, he's done his best to find.
Well, I get the feeling Wrighty was quite happy with that result.
Mikel, you can hear what the crowd think. I know you love winning so much, but I don't think I've ever seen you as happy after a win as that. Is that about right?
Yes, because I think in life you have to show gratitude. And when we had difficult moments and adversity and criticism, these people stood by this club and our players. And it's our way today to say thank you so much, and this is for them.
Is it quite emotional, in a way, to hear that after all this time?
Very, because when externally there are a lot of things happening and you are trying to rebuild a project and you believe you are trying to do the right things, the results, they come in and you have difficulties, you have to stay by your values. And we kept the people together internally in the club, and now we are creating a connection with our supporters.
Just over 50 games into your Arsenal career, you've had some pretty good days. Is this the best yet?
100%, you know, it's probably the best day of my life so far. Winning another North London derby at home and, you know, scoring in front of my family up there, you know, it's the best feeling ever, you know.
What was the plan for the game? And going behind early, did you have to change things very early on?
No, the game plan, we had a game plan. We were not able to execute it the right way, and my decisions according to the game plan was not the good ones.
Are you saying it was your decisions and you're taking full ownership of that?
Of course, it's us. I believe that the game plan was good. Credit to Arsenal, because they were stronger, they were faster than us, they were more aggressive, and we were not able to control the possession of the ball. We lost too many duels, but the responsibility is mine. Of course, it has to be mine, and what I'm focused on is to make the right decisions and work and get it right.
Yes, well, we'll talk about Spurs in just a moment, but what a day for Mikel Arteta and Arsenal. Good evening to Jermaine and Martin. He's got a big smile on his face tonight. They were brilliant today, weren't they, Arsenal?
Amazing. I was immensely impressed. They absolutely blew Spurs away in those opening exchanges. The directness, the way they set out and took control of this game was probably the best 45 minutes I've seen from Arteta's team. He was under huge pressure going into this. Nice shape about the team, solid at the back. Lots of options in midfield. What they try to do, they create like a three there. Tomiyasu sits back in the three. Tierney gets down the left-hand side. Got a couple of options in midfield. And then these two players, Ødegaard, Smith-Rowe, coming off the lines. And they were brilliant today. But Tierney wants to get down that left whenever he can. Aubameyang, the skipper, was really in the mood today. This was early on, 3-4 passes, and they've gone right through that Spurs team. Excellent build-up. I like this now. Ben White winning those challenges. You can get that ball, recycle it, and then they're away. And this is going to be a famous four if they keep playing the way they are. The kids in the team, Smith-Rowe, Saka, brilliant. Ødegaard's vision, and then Aubameyang in the mood, wanting to make runs off the ball. Look at Smith-Rowe just drifting into that position. Beautiful goal from an Arsenal point of view. And it just kept happening. Smith-Rowe comes all the way across, really difficult to deal with. That's the signal for Tierney to get down the left-hand side. They're nice and patient in their build-up, taking control. There's a hunger about it. Look at this young man wants to make things happen at Arsenal. He's whistling down that left-hand side. This time, nothing comes of it. And this is a goal, by the way. This is a brilliant move, a give and go, Smith-Rowe. No one going with him. And again, look, it's the same four. Yeah, he was brilliant today, Aubameyang. But those youngsters around him, the energy, and look at this for a finish, comes onto it, never in doubt. Emphatic, the way they played. And this is only the 12th game that Arteta has had at home with a full crowd. And there was a unity today. It was electricity in the ground. And this young man was at the forefront of everything they did. He's the future of the club. It's great to see the youngsters coming through the academy. You know, Smith Rowe talking about it's a dream. And now it's a reality. It's not a dream anymore. They're doing it in an Arsenal shirt, and they're doing it to a really high level. Aubameyang here again, look, pulling away Ødegaard's vision. Perhaps that was a foul. But Arteta, you have to say, 3 games, he lost the first 3 games, the international break came, he had a good look at himself and the group, and he's come back now with a really strong 11.
What a talent they've got in Emile Smith-Rowe as well. But they were allowed to play, do you mean?
Listen, this group of players and this manager have suffered a lot. They've been ridiculed at times during this season. And this was a really special moment for the manager and the players where they've, you know, through that suffering, they've come together. He's worked with his players, and you could see that today. You could see that performance, that it mattered to them. The minute they walked out the tunnel, I could see in their eyes, you know, in those Arsenal players' eyes, that they understood what this fixture meant a lot more than Tottenham. And they went on to prove that. And with the young players that they've got and the way that he's got them organised, you've got to give full credit to Arteta here. You know, how he's managed to turn things around and get everybody, including the fans, back on side. They're absolutely brilliant.
Conversely, though, it just seems that the manager, Nuno, doesn't realise the expectation needed in these derby games. We saw that in the Palace game, and today was exactly the same.
Yeah. It was a first, wasn't it? We'll come on to Spurs in just a moment, but one of our favourite moments this afternoon was Aubameyang's celebration. Very similar to a man you played alongside, of course, the legend Thierry Henry.
Thierry Henry, yes. Actually, yeah, he played with me, actually, did he? Did you say? No, I played with him, yes, you're right.
Did he just say that on live television, Joey? I think he did.
Wonderful player. But he's emulating what he's doing now, isn't he? Aubameyang today looks a little bit like him.
Yeah, absolutely. And those young players are going to look up to him as well. Let's talk about Spurs because, Jermaine, this was a North London derby. You two boys have played in these as well.
Yeah.
And it looked like Spurs were either nervous, they didn't have a game plan. Nuno said they had a game plan. Could you spot it?
I didn't, no. You know, as you can see here, it's... I suppose these 3 results here for me papered over the cracks as to kind of what actually was the reality of what was going on at Tottenham. You know, I think brilliant against City, don't get me wrong. But in the other games, I think the performances didn't warrant their league position at that time. But the big worry for me today, you know, this is the type of game where you would be... people would say to you about a player, as a player, that you don't care. You don't understand, you don't care. And trust me, there were some performances in there today that were poor, that were terrible. I mean, Dele was poor, and Ndombele was shocking, Højbjerg, Harry Kane. There's a number of names I could go through, trust me, but just to name a few, Son as well was really poor. But the bigger concern was I was watching a team who didn't have a clue what they were doing. And that falls on the manager, unfortunately. With or without the ball, they did not know what they were doing. This is the midfield here. You've got Ndombele, Højbjerg and Dele, miles apart. Can Ndombele go and get on the ball? Can he go into that little pocket of space and move this Arsenal side? Ask a question. He doesn't do that, so they end up going long. Second time, Sanchez on the ball. Can somebody here come and get on the ball, please? There's my midfield. Acres of space in midfield again. Why don't Dele just drop in here, give it to me, create a link, get the ball out into Lucas Moura, and we're playing. But you've got players running away from the ball. Nobody wanted to take responsibility. So, in the end, the ball just ends up going long. This was shocking. You know, the minute the ball goes over Ndombele's head here, get on the second ball, react, try and do something. He doesn't do anything. There's that hole that we spoke about before. Not a midfielder in sight. And the reaction of these two is shocking. Your defence is in trouble here, and they're plodding along. Yeah. They're not sensing the danger.
They're all over
not
the place,
sensing anything.
All over the place.
And before you know it, it's in the back of the net. It's like, where is that sensing of danger? It's nowhere to be seen. Here's the shape. It's a flat 4-3-3. Make a decision. Are we pressing as a team, or are we dropping off? And Ndombele's got to go in. He's got to do something. He doesn't go in, and he doesn't mark Ødegaard. If Partey finds Ødegaard there, he's simply in behind. We just saw that in Martin's run. 1-2 passes, and they're in at you. So that's without the ball. With the ball, you've got 3 players here not even looking at the ball. The ball is in play and nobody's even looking. Arteta at the bottom of the screen, he's organising his troops. He's dragging them into position. He's saying, come on, squeeze up. You've got a back 4 with Tottenham at the minute, scrambling to get out of this defensive third. And then at the top end of the pitch, players that don't care. Not interested. And when they do get the ball, Arteta's got his troops into position and they can take control of the game.
And look at the body language of Arteta as well compared to Nuno. He was like that all afternoon.
He's got all sorts to do. I mean, I spoke about this at the top end of the show. You know, this is after 3 games, what kind of their ranks were. So obviously, points position, they were first, great. But everything else, kind of the shots, the goals, the expected goals against, they're a mid-table team. And that's essentially what we're talking about with regards to kind of papering over the cracks those results were.
OK, so here's the question then. Did they dupe us with their start of the season? Or is that squad good enough to compete for 7th, 8th, 9th in the Premier League?
Yeah, it's definitely good enough to compete for 7th. You know, they should be competing for a Europa League place. They're nowhere near good enough to finish in the top 4. Not at all. But, you know, as individuals, they do have a group of players there that can get into Europe. But he's got to find a way of playing, and today was not that day.
OK, boys, fantastic stuff for now.
We'll come to Tottenham again in a moment, but let's actually look at the goals, because I loved that post-match interview with Emil Smith-Rowe. He said it was the best day of his life, and he, of course, got the goals going for us.
Yeah, he was brilliant. I mean, he comes through the academy there, but the best players at Tottenham, at Arsenal for the last couple of years are their academy players. I think when they get in the space like this, time and time again, whether it's Odegaard or Smith-Rowe or Saka, they find the right pass at the right time. He squares up Reguilon here and crosses it. I mean, Smith-Rowe hasn't got to do too much. He just waltzes into the penalty spot, taps it into the net. I mean, his movement isn't fantastic. Doesn't have to be. No one's picking him up. I mean, got to give Saka credit. Goes 1v1, just rolls it into the space, and he just comfortably steers that past Hugo Lloris.
Just goes in, doesn't he? Unmarked, knows the pace is on the ball there. Just get it on target, and you've got a chance of it going in.
And to score 12 minutes into the game is a huge statement, a huge moment to score.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, it's obviously the first goal in any football match is important, but in a North London derby and the emotion of it, and you get your fans on your side. You know, to score that at home. And a lot to cheer about, Arsenal fans, but they were going into the game on the back of two victories, albeit Norwich, everyone beats Norwich, and Burnley away, which is no mean feat. Yeah. You know, they've got to go there and perform, and they've got to dig in that game and show something different. Today, they showed they can play on the front foot. They showed out a style what Mikel Arteta has been telling us for a long time that he's trying to implement to this group of players. And on the evidence of what we saw in that first half today, I thought they sat back a little bit in the second half. In the first half, they've got to be pleased with what they saw. In contrast, the Tottenham fans will be scratching their heads thinking, where are we going from here?
Let's talk us through 2-0 Aubameyang. Was there a foul in the build-up to this?
Yeah, I mean, you can see this be given in some cases, but it's just a case of one player want it more than the other. You know, you can see there the numbers that Spurs have got, and then this is counter-attacking at its best. That ball there, and then this little touch from Aubameyang, and then the pace from Smith-Rowe. But look at the numbers, get in the box again. Look, but to run at pace and speed, and then pick out a pass like whatever Smith-Rowe's done there. I mean, yeah, for me, it's not a foul, in my opinion. You can see him being given before, but you know he's just got on the wrong side there, Højbjerg. Xhaka uses his power, and then this is the break now. But I love Aubameyang there. You know, touch it off, then he loiters around for the pullback, and again, it's not the cleanest of strikes, but just get it on target and you've got a chance.
I mean,
so, really important goal.
Reward, wasn't it? We talked about playing out from the back. And when Leno plays, I think he gives the ball to the opposition more than he gives it to his own team. I think with Ramsdale, I think he's more accomplished on the ball. You know, they trust him when he passes the ball. That was too much of a risk for me. If I'm Arteta, I go, you know, because if they nick that, there's a good chance they could score. They get away with it, they break the press, but it cannot, from Tottenham's point of view, as soon as they get past the press, there's 4 of them out of the game, it can't be terminal every time they get into your back 4. But time and time again, they counter-attack brilliantly. It was a fantastic little ball around the corner from Aubameyang, and the pace of Smith-Rowe. I didn't know he had that sort of pace, but he's in full flow, he's got his head up, and he sees Aubameyang just standing out, picked him out brilliantly, and it was a wonderful finish from someone you'd expect. I mean, he only got 10 goals last year. If they're going to get to where they want to be and challenging for Europa League places this year, he needs to score more than 10 goals this year. But that's the confidence they're going to get from this result.
Absolutely. Well, we saw the goal. Let's have a look at the celebration. Now, Steve, Tim, does this celebration remind you of anyone in particular? Have a look.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
He's been watching a lot of goals, hasn't he, from the master class himself.
2002. Oh, and there he was in the stand as well.
In the vintage Arsenal kit. He would have been delighted to. It's like he wears, you know, Arsenal on the sleeve, doesn't he? He'd have been delighted with what he sees today, along with all the Arsenal fans as well.
Well, you mentioned the young stars in this Arsenal side. They're really coming together to help this side push on, and Saka got on the score sheet to make it 3-0.
Yeah, he deserved it. He deserved his performance. He's had a great couple of years, Saka. Slowly built his way into it. Played some Europa League football, didn't he? Got some game time. Then the Premier League, forced his way in. He's got to play in international football now. Just glides into the areas, gets found far too early, too easy. But the boy's got talent. You know what? It breaks for him. Harry Kane gives the ball away initially, and he tries to get back. Look, that's where he loses the ball. But look at Saka. He doesn't just bomb into the area. He just waits his turn. He knows the ball's coming now. And now Eric Dyer has got an awful problem. Harry Kane tries to help him out, comes on the inside, goes to ground, and it falls nicely for Saka, and he finishes it lovely off his right foot.
Yeah. You create your own luck, don't you? I mean, H is unlucky there, coming back, and it just gets the second ricochet, but second bite of the cherry, and 9 times out of 10, Saka always hits the target. And it's amazing at the moment how the likes of him, Smith Rowe, are really dragging this Arsenal team, up the league.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? And you can see exactly what it means to Arteta and the fans. I mean, they have gone through a lot. He's been through a lot, and today must have meant the world to him.
Brilliant. I mean, when the plan comes together, as it did certainly in that first half, I think automatically, when you're 3-0 up at half-time in such an emotional game, you have the tendency to just sit back. He will look at that. If he's a perfectionist like his mate, Pep Guardiola, up the road at Manchester City, and he's worked for him for a long time, he'd be saying to the boys, look, we've got to learn from that, because we sat back. So obviously Tottenham get a goal, and they could have had another one. Then it would have been a nervy couple of minutes at the end, and Tottenham wouldn't have deserved it, because they didn't deserve to be in the game full stop. But what we saw in the first half, out of possession, nicking the ball off Tottenham high, the intensity they played with, and then the quality of the movement, of the rotations to find the space and get in behind. I thought it was an excellent performance and really nicely balanced Arsenal team. Yeah.
Well, we said going into this match, whichever manager lost, if there was to be a losing manager, would be under huge amounts of pressure, and it really feels like Nuno's under that now. Yeah,
I mean, when I look at Spurs, I just don't see a chemistry between the players, the squad, and the manager. Was he the right fit to go in there? I think you look at him at Wolves. Wolves didn't create a lot of goals, a lot of chances when he was there. And it's the same that sort of happened now at Spurs. They're not creating with the players that they've got. That front line with Dele Alli, they got goal scorers, they got pace, they got legs, they got players that can hurt you. And they just seem leggy, fatigued, not confident. All the excuses. And Tim will say, you've got to take accountability as a footballer, and footballers don't take accountability. When things are going wrong, it's always someone else's excuse. So a lot of them need to look at themselves in the mirror, because there's drastic changes that need to be made at Spurs.
I mean, it's not so long ago Pochettino was a manager. They was in the Champions League final, and they excited us, didn't they? Yes, they didn't win anything. Everyone would point to that, and we know that. But they threatened every team they played against, and he had the confidence to go toe-to-toe with every single team. And the biggest damning stat what I saw today is the Tottenham side have run less than any team in the Premier League. They haven't got no energy anymore, because that's the way they want to play. Under Jose Mourinho, they're very pragmatic. Get behind the ball, get the numbers behind the ball, good distances between each other, and we try and counter-attack. It worked. It worked until December, when they went to Liverpool and they got beat at Anfield. Then they slipped down the league. You get away with it. You can play however you want if you're winning football matches. If you don't, the Tottenham fans, I mean, Sidney's there talking about the disconnect between the manager and the players, and also breeze to the fans. The fans do not want to see that style of football. They want to see their team up and at them. They've got the players to do it. There's a large proportion of this team who was still there when Pochettino was there, so they can play on the front foot, but they need to be trained like that. They need to be conditioned. They can't just turn up against Chelsea and say, no, we're going to have a go today because it's a derby, we're at home, and the emotion sends them and they start pushing. First half of the Chelsea game, it was a 50-50 game. All of a sudden, Thomas Tuchel, a very intelligent manager, slings on Kante. They step up the intensity. They could not live with it because they're not conditioned. They're not trained to play that way. Then we need to get them trained to play that way very, very quickly. Otherwise, the fans will get him out of there.
Tim, the alarming thing is, the way that they're playing at the moment, it looks as though they're playing a year, 18 months into a manager's tenure where they've run out of ideas. Yeah. They're 6 games into the season, 6 games into new management. So if it carries on, Tim's right, there could be a quick change.
But it's not a manager coming in City at mid-season. I mean, he's had a pre-season. We've had a lot of time to work with players. Yes, they had the Euros. We know that it's interruption. But he's had enough time to work. But I cannot see an identity, and that's really worrying.